Welcome back to Basement Integrity Podcast by Icerino. Our last deep dive, we talked a lot about prevention, didn't we? The big picture stuff for flood-proofing your home in Toronto. But today, we're kind of switching gears. We're talking about that moment, that awful moment you find water in your basement.
Yeah.
You know, instant panic.
Oh, absolutely. Total panic mode. And it's completely understandable. But look, when you're facing what looks like an indoor swimming pool, having a plan, that's your most valuable asset. So our mission today is really simple. Swap that panic for precision. We want to give you, the homeowner, a really quick, effective response guide. It's about knowing those maybe 5 or 6 absolutely critical actions in the first hour, first 60 minutes, because honestly, every single minute counts when your basement's flooding.
Right. And those first few minutes are all about keeping yourself safe, aren't they? Before you even think about moving stuff or, figuring out why there's water. Is it rainwater? Is it groundwater? Or, God forbid, is it a sewer backup? Before all that, there are 2 things you absolutely have to do for safety.
That's exactly right. The number one, top priority, electricity. You've got to cut the power immediately. And listen, if the water's high, don't go wading through it to get to your breaker panel. That's incredibly dangerous. Try to find the main external switch if you can, or just call your utility provider right away. Ask them what to do. Water plus electricity. Lethal combination.
Okay, power first. Got it. What's number 2?
Number 2, shut off the main water supply to your entire house. This stops a potentially smaller problem, like maybe a burst pipe or a leaking water heater, from just adding more water to the mess while you're trying to figure things out.
Okay, let's pause there. The main water shut off. If I'm, panicking, maybe the power's already off, it's dark.
Yeah.
Where is that thing usually? And what's a common mistake people make trying to find it in a hurry?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Most people, honestly, only look for it when they really need it. Usually it's right where the main water line comes into your house, often near the water meter. Check your basement, maybe a utility room, crawl space sometimes. The mistake. People start turning smaller valves, the ones for the garden hose or under a sink. No. You're looking for the main valve. It's usually bigger, often a gate valve with a wheel handle, or maybe a ball valve with a lever, right near where that pipe comes through the foundation wall. Honestly, knowing where that is before anything happens, that's critical homeowner homework. Do it this weekend.
Good advice. Okay, so power off, water off. Now let's talk about what kind of water. You go downstairs and it's obvious it's sewage. That nasty, dark, smelly water. Is there a different first call?
Yes, absolutely. If you even suspect it's coming from the city side, a sewer backup, a problem with the municipal pipes, you need to dial 311 right away. That's different than, say, your iron pipe bursting. Why? Well, the city needs to know if their system failed. And depending on what's happening, if there's major pressure affecting the whole street, their advice might actually come before calling us or another plumber.
Right. 311 for city sewer issues. Okay, Let's circle back to the power for a sec. You said cutting it prevents electrocution, obviously, but also protects appliances and wiring. But once the main power is off, you still need power for cleanup, right? For pumps and fans. How do you manage that safely?
Yeah, you definitely need power for the recovery, for the pumps, the big dehumidifiers, air movers.
Sure.
So this is where temporary power sources come in. Generators, maybe powerful battery backups. But this is important. They must be used safely. Outside, ideally, well away from any standing water. Never run a generator indoors. When our Icerino team arrives, one of the first things we do is set up safe, temporary power to run our high-capacity pumps. Get that water out fast.
And that's really the transition point, isn't it? From the homeowner's immediate crisis steps to bringing in the pros. When you call us at Icerino, we know it's a race against time. That secondary damage, especially mold, that can start setting in really fast, like 24, 48 hours. So our response speed isn't just about convenience. It's about saving your home from bigger, more expensive problems down the line, like structural issues or bad air quality.
Exactly. And our response isn't just fast, it's smart. We use advanced detection tech. That sounds fancy. But what it really means is we don't just guess where the water went. We use things like moisture sensors, thermal imaging cameras, tools that let us actually see how far the water seeped. Because water's sneaky, right? It gets behind walls, under floorboards, places you can't see. Mapping it out lets us dry things thoroughly and sometimes even save materials that look okay on the surface but are actually soaked underneath. Avoids tearing out more than necessary.
So it's like you're doing a bit of forensic work before the main cleanup. And that expertise comes from our trained emergency response team. We handle the whole process, right? Getting the water out, sanitizing everything, which is super important if it was sewage, and setting up all that drying equipment.
Right. The goal is to stabilize the environment as quickly as possible, usually within hours of arriving. Our teams are trained specifically for these messy, stressful situations. We can usually be there quite quickly, often within just a couple of hours, to get things under control and give you some peace of mind.
Okay, so the water's out, the drying has started, but then comes that other overwhelming part, dealing with insurance. This is where being prepared beforehand really helps, doesn't it?
Right. Oh, it makes a world of difference. The paperwork can feel like a mountain, but you can make it smoother. Your number one tool. Documentation. Good documentation. Before anyone starts moving or cleaning things, even us, you need to take photos and videos. Lots of them. And here's a pro tip. Don't just get wide shots of the room. Get close-ups. And this is key. Put something in the shot for scale next to the water line. A ruler is best, but even a pop can works. Insurance adjusters need that reference to see how high the water actually got, document everything damaged, keep every single receipt related to the flood, even for little things like batteries.
That ruler tip is brilliant. Simple, but effective. But let's hit the hard truth. Standard home insurance often doesn't cover basement flooding very well, does it? What are the specific things people need to look for in their policy before disaster strikes?
This is the big catch for so many homeowners. Your standard policy, it usually covers sudden internal stuff like, your washing machine hose exploding, but water coming in from outside, from the ground, from the city sewer system. Usually that's excluded. You need specific add-ons called endorsements or riders. The two really big ones to look for are sewer backup endorsement and overland flood coverage. Without those specific additions, if the city sewer backs up into your basement or if heavy rain pools outside and seeps in, you're likely not covered.
Wow. So, wait. If I have, say, $50,000 in damage from a sewer backup and I don't have that specific sewer backup endorsement, I might get nothing.
That's often exactly the case. Zero. And another thing, even if you have those endorsements, check the details. Sometimes they have much higher deductibles than the rest of your policy, or lower coverage limits. Maybe your fire deductible is $1,000, but your sewer backup deductible is $5,000 or even $10,000. Knowing those numbers today before anything happens, that is probably the single most important piece of homework from this whole chat.
Seriously good advice. Okay, so crisis handled, insurance underway. Now the focus shifts to making sure this doesn't happen again. Fortification. What are the essential installations we recommend?
Right. Now we build resilience. We talk about our sort of triple defense system.
Okay, break that down for us. Defense number one.
First is backwater valve installation. This is actually mandatory in many parts of Toronto now, and for very good reason. It's basically a one-way gate for your home's main drain line. It lets your wastewater flow out to the city sewer, no problem. But if the city sewer gets overloaded, like during a massive storm, and starts to back up towards your house, that flap slams shut, boom. It physically stops the city's sewage from flooding your basement. It isolates your home.
Okay, that sounds absolutely essential, protecting you from the outside. What about water that collects around the foundation itself?
That's where defense number 2 comes in. Sump pump essentials. A sump pump sits in a pit in your basement floor and pumps out water that collects in your weeping tile system before it can seep upwards. But the essential part is the battery backup. Think about it. When do floods often happen? During big storms. When does the power often go out? During big storms. A sump pump without a reliable battery backup is useless when you need it most. So get a good pump with a good backup system.
Right, backup power is key. And the third part of the triple defense.
Alarm system implementation. This gives you early warning. You can have a simple high water alarm right in the sump pit. Or place moisture sensors in areas you know are vulnerable. Many of these systems can send alerts right to your smartphone if they detect water, or even if the sump pump fails. It's about catching a small leak before it becomes a huge flood. Proactive monitoring.
That triple system sounds pretty robust. Beyond that, we also sometimes talk about bigger projects for long-term protection, right? Things like basement lowering or underpinning.
Yeah, those are more major structural jobs, often done to get more headroom, but they tie directly into waterproofing. Underpinning involves digging out and extending your foundation deeper. Basement lowering is similar, dropping the floor slab. When we do these, it's usually part of a full one. Basement waterproofing project could be interior systems with drainage mats or digging up the outside to seal the foundation walls properly, creating a truly dry space.
And one last piece, looking outside the house itself.
Can't forget that. Landscaping strategies for water diversion. It sounds basic, but making sure the ground around your house slopes away from the foundation is huge. Making sure your downspouts carry roof water far away, keeping gutters clean. All these things reduce how much water soaks into the ground right next to your basement walls. Less water pressure means less risk of leaks.
Okay, so we've really gone full circle. From that initial panic and safety check
Yeah.
to calling for help, like reaching out to us, then navigating that insurance maze, and finally building up those long-term defenses. Hopefully this gives everyone listening a solid game plan.
Absolutely. Protecting your basement, it's a critical mission for any homeowner. But here's that final thought I want to leave you with, building on the insurance bit. When you do check your policy for those sewer backup and overland flood coverages, pay really close attention to the deductible amount for those specific things. Ask yourself, is that deductible so high that you might actually hesitate to even file a claim for a smaller flood? Knowing that number might change how you think about investing in prevention now.
That's really practical homework, something to check tonight. Remember, Icerino has been your trusted partner in basement integrity and waterproofing since 2009. We're here to help in Toronto, Etobicoke, Scarborough, and the surrounding areas. Whether you need emergency help, want to install some of these defenses, or just need an expert assessment, give us a call. The number is 647-454-66600 for a free consultation. Thanks for tuning into this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.